everybody, I am Tommy, and you are on the Love Boat. Good morning. Hope you were having a good one. Hope you slept well. Hope you woke up on the right side of the mattress. And I hope that you journaled before you got here. Let's say hello to a couple of people, shall we? Ashley G, good to see you. What's happening, Sandy Wendy? Kristen Melinda, I'm so glad you're here. Grace Twinkle Toes. Jane Aldrich is here. Jane, thank you for your never-ending kindness. Jane Aldrich is a member of my five. I don't talk about the five as much as I used to, but being a member of my five is probably the most frustrating thing in the world, and she does it with style and grace. Marshall Lambert. See what I did there? Not sure if I'm even close, but good to see you, Marsha. Valerie Nagy, I'm glad you're here. Archie's mom. What's happening? All right, people. So I put up with a little bit of abuse to do this gig, right? Part of the job if you're a YouTuber of any kind. But I put up with a slightly different type of abuse that is always done in kindness and in good-spirited fun. But occasionally I'll get called the G word, which is something that I'm not a huge fan of. But if I really were to be one of those people that positively influences somebody in that direction, I started to journal about this. I started to write down maybe why it offends me. And it shouldn't. I call Q a guru all the time. And it occurred to me why I think he's a guru and why I think I'm not. Isis Aflame, good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. He had the ability to say to me, BS. He had the ability to get in my face routinely and go, you're lying, or you're wasting your time, or you're not taking this seriously. You really want to be a better version of yourself? What you're doing isn't going to get you there. He had the ability to get up in my grill on a really regular basis. And I started going back through the boat, and I don't get in anyone's grill. I don't. It falls back into the pattern of wanting to be a good guy and wanting to be liked. I don't want to run somebody away that needs sobriety. Natalie, good to have you here. Grandpa, not a bad guess. Isis Aflame, guru. Johnny Scoville has a lot of fun with it. So a couple of you do. Honey, good to see you. Q was a guru because I signed up for the guru course. Do you understand? I knew what it was going to entail. I knew that after having met people whose life he had radically changed, one of whom did 12 grams of heroin a day, had a 12 gram a day habit. That's half a pedazo. If that doesn't, if that's not something you all can wrap your brain around, it's a horrifically large amount of heroin. Heroin is not sold by the ounce, it's sold by the piece. And there are 40 pieces in a kilo. Those pieces weigh 25 grams. So this dude was doing half of a 40 piece a day, or he was doing a kilo every 80 days. Wow. Right? Wrap your dome piece around that. That's a stupid amount of dope. The fact that he was able to get this person clean was the ticket price. The cost of admission had been paid. I now had enough faith in him and what he did to give it a shot. But he made rules that were very, very clear. One of which was, if I think you're wasting my time, I'll walk away from you. If I don't think you're taking this seriously, I'll walk away from you. If you don't give this your all, I'll walk away from you. Know what I mean? Hey, Cricket, good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. Gross would work. That would work. I went to a new therapist yesterday, and I'm crossing my fingers that this one will work out for me. Ashley, I am crossing my fingers with you. Can we get some ones up there for those of us that cross our fingers differently? I believe, in my personal experience, I went through ungodly numbers of therapists. I really did. I went through ungodly number of therapists. I fired them like it had to gel. It had to be perfect. It had to be a situation where I felt this person saw my soul. I think I made a mistake. I really did. Now, today, I'm a very different animal than I was then. And I'm telling you right now, and I'm not trying to put anyone on blast because I wasn't there at one time. I completely get it. But I could walk into any therapist's office today and it would work for me. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, send this to friends. Talk to people that we know. What's that? And if not, Johnny Scoville's going to lose it. He's been known to throw things against the wall and stomp things out. I can't back that up, but he might do it. Monk, 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 monk. Good to see you, bud. Glad that you're here. I think I could walk into any therapist's office today and it would work for me. Don't care who they are. It would work for me. Because these days, my therapy is very much one-on-one. It's me against me. It's me trying to be the best version of myself. And I spend a lot of time journaling for that purpose. I spend a lot of time setting goals for that purpose. I also spend a lot of time writing down things that I never would have thought about when I first started journaling. You know, we set goals and then, you know, there's an old joke, man plans, right? And then God laughs. We had plans of what we were going to do when we came to South America. And spoiler alert, it had a lot to do with laying in hammocks, right? Honestly, that was a big part of going and dealing with this. Ashley G, I'm praying that you gel with this one because it really is important that you get along with them. And I was that guy. I'm telling you, I've fired more than you have. I promise I have. I fired more than you have. I fired more than anyone has. But it was where I was in my life at that time.
I fired 3.
Johnny's fired 3. I fired 7 at one therapist's office. I went through 7 of them before I found someone that I could work with. And then that person got transferred out. It was just a terrible situation. But this woman here knows a little something about therapists. To find a licensed therapist, try www.psychologytoday.com. You can search by location and health insurance. See, Isis Aflame says, lots of bikini watching. Well, that'd cross my mind. I mean, honestly, it was going to be Margaritaville without being looped all the time. It was about just cutting back and going into this relaxation mode, right? We weren't coming here to do work. We were coming here to not do work. We had spent a decent amount of time in our life talking to people, selling things, you know, Johnny burning the crap out of himself. And we were coming here for a completely different reason. But I'll tell you something, I'm not the same cat that got on the plane to come here. I'm not. I'm a completely different person. Do you know why? You could list a long reason, right? A lot of them you could say, well, God has intervened. You have found the mission in your life. You have meaning now in what you do. You were inspired by such and such. I was willing. The reason I'm a different person today than the person that got on the plane is I was willing to become a different person. That's an illness that I couldn't pull off for a very long time in my life. You see, if you watch motivational guys, they'll tell you, you know, there are things that you should say every morning when you get up. And one is, I am the best. Honestly, this is almost universally accepted. Get up in the morning and say, I am the best. I am the best at what I do. And it's a great drill. It really is, because most of us lack the kind of self-esteem necessary to be the best version of ourselves. But I'm not the best. Now, I can try to BS myself into doing that. And you know, you're the best. Tommy, you're the best. I'm the best at what? Even if I break down what I do into small little segments, I'm not the best public speaker I've ever met. I'm not even in the top 5. Right? I've met some really good public speakers. Am I the best version of being me? Because that's a good one, right? We could use that as a catch-all, couldn't we? I'm not even sure I'm the best version of being me. I'll tell you what I am. I'm willing. I'm wildly willing. And this is not something I've been before in my life. I'm willing. There's only one thing these days I'm not willing to do, and that's quit. I'm not willing to quit. And I'll tell you something, we come on here and we highlight the beautiful things because it's social media and you don't want to hear about the awful things. And there's plenty of them. It doesn't have to do with this country. I love this country. Everything about it. I love this country and I love it more every day. But we have a laundry list of shat that has been happening that you wouldn't believe me if I told you half of it. There's been a lot of things that, for lack of a, thank you, Ashley G, for lack of a better way to put it, we're being attacked, right? Constantly. And in the past, it would have sent me running. It really would have. Here's the one thing you should say every single morning, because if you don't believe this, you're on the wrong damn page. Feel me? But the one thing that you should say is, I want to be the best version of me that I can be. I want to be the best version of me. Do you know the difference between those of us who are starting to make that happen and those of us that are not starting to make that happen? Because it is wildly simple, I promise you. And if this sounds a little bit like, why are you thinking about little feet? If you be my Dixie chicken, Or were you thinking, don't bogart that joint, my friend? I don't know why you're thinking Little Feat. Great band, though. Love Little Feat. Here's the problem. And if it sounds like I'm not being nice, it is what it is. But I work with people every single day who send me emails. In some cases, they've been doing it for 3 years. And every email is almost the same. It says something along the lines of, I'm really trying to do this. I really want to do that. My goal is to do this. So I can do this for every party involved. And this gives me an out to say I wasn't talking to you. But trust and believe I'm talking to you. What action have you taken? When I said you should write down your goals, because they're pipe dreams. When they're in your head, they're pipe dreams. If I write down, I'd like to see that rehabilitation center capable of taking 128 guys. That's an arrogant goal, yeah? Well, it's a pipe dream if it stays in my head. If I put it down on paper and say, I want to be a part of making this thing 4 times bigger than it is today, the next thing that I have to write is why. Why do I want that goal? And if the first thing I write is, people will not think I'm a scumbag and a con man anymore, then I should probably walk away from that goal. If your goal, right, if the goal of what you want to achieve is so that the world will view you differently, you'll have to make a decision on whether or not that goal is a good thing. For me, that would be cancerous. I'm not doing anything anymore to keep the world feeling good about Tommy Scoville. I'm done with that. I don't care. Liberating as hell, to be honest with you, but I don't care. I am no longer ashamed of anything. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. I am what I am. My past is what it is. But the person that I am today, I'm proud of. The things that I'm doing today, on and off camera, I'm proud of. And I know my father is. I mean, both of them. I know that what I'm doing is pulling in the right direction. And that's not something that I've done for the majority of my life. But you're going to write down your goal, and then you're going to write down why you want that goal. And I'm telling you, if you do that and you do it honestly, you will walk away from goals that are stupid routinely. I want a Ferrari. Try writing that down on a piece of paper and then writing down why you want a Ferrari, and watch how much of an idiot you feel like by the time you're done writing those sentences. These are the kind of things that people don't do before they buy a Ferrari. Now, the next thing you have to write, if you're taking something from pipe dream to goal, you're taking it from out here in the ether of your dome piece to I'm putting it on paper and I'm writing it down and I'm going to make it an actual goal, then you better write what you're willing to do to make that goal happen. We can use the same example that I just gave. And by the way, I don't know that the goal is to ever make this thing 128 people, but I would love to see it so that there's never 2 guys sleeping in a bed. That there's always one guy in there with enough space to roll around. When you're kicking dope, you don't lay in one position and fall asleep. You thrash. I have kicked heroin, I can't tell you how many times, laying next to a partner. And usually that partner will find a different place to sleep until I'm done kicking. Because you just thrash. You're not in control. Your body is going through withdrawal even while you're trying to sleep. But I would very much like to see that rehab center big enough that there's never 2 guys in the bed. I love the fact that when somebody comes in, instantly they fight to give up their bed. I asked the question. They said they gave up their bed so that the guy had a place to sleep and they took turns watching him. And I said, who jumps up first and says, I'll give up my bed? I mean, are they encouraged, to do that? And the answer was, everybody said, I'll give up my bed. The director ends up picking the people, but everybody does I'll give them my bed. You know why? Because like I said yesterday, they're not 13 years away from the miracle. They're not a decade away from the miracle. They're not 15 years or 15 months. They're still in the middle of it. They watch somebody walk in and they can still smell the vomit. They were there a week ago. They were there a month ago. They were there 90 days ago. Some of them 2 or 3 years ago. But they're so close to the miracle that they remember that. They remember that. They also remember the first time somebody in there went, I'll go with a little bit of discomfort for this guy I've never met. I'll put myself into a place that is less comfortable than the 2 that I'm currently at on a scale of 1 to 10. I'll happily drop to a 1 because that guy's at a 0. I want this person to feel what I felt when I showed up here, which was people that cared about me for no freaking reason. A room full of guys whose families, in most cases, have bailed. By the way, it's $700 a month. Yeah, I since looked this back up. And what they're hoping for is $700 a day for each person there so that they can buy food for them, so that they can buy clothing, they can buy whatever these guys need for their daily, to be taken care of. By the way, $700 a month for a rehab. You know what Betty Ford gets daily? How about 4 times that? This is a very inexpensive rehab. However, that money would be paid by the families of the people who are in there. And in most cases, not all, by the way, but in most cases, family did the cartoon kind of runaway from these people a hot minute ago. They don't have people ready to pay $700 a month. On the bright side, that rehabilitation center doesn't have a director who's ready to turn those people away. So when we can show up with food and lighten the load briefly, that's one meal that David doesn't have to come up with food for everybody in the place. If you could see them deliver bags of rice, you'd have a real good idea what this diet looks like. I mean, they need a pack mule to bring in the amount of rice that they're feeding these guys weekly. And rice is good stuff. It really is. Thousands of dollars a day for rehab in the States, for real. Absolutely. I've been through a lot of rehabs at that price. Ashley G says 700 goes a lot further in Ecuador. It really does, especially if someone actually pays it. That's not happening here. It's not. But the guy that's running that place doesn't get hung up on things like cash, right? For real. Doesn't get hung up on things like cash. Before the Love Boat sort of got hit midships with a torpedo, the lifeboat, I should say, when we were putting people on medical assisted treatment, there was regular occurrences where someone would get to the point where they say, yeah, I'm ready to do medical assisted treatment. I don't want to get up tomorrow morning and need fentanyl. And I would say, you know, the doctor visit's $99, right? That's the first visit to see the doctor, and you get a prescription for that visit. But that prescription is only going to be for 7 days, and then there's a whole process. And they would say, I don't have the money to do this. And I would use your money to put those people on medical assisted treatment. But there was no payoff on earth. Honestly, you want to talk about servitude? You want to talk about a needle kind of shooting dope kind of feeling just from brain chemicals? Saying to somebody, we're not going to let money stop you. This is bigger than money. This isn't going to be something that we allow money to stop you from doing. I would imagine that feels pretty fantastic for the guy that runs this center, who's just a beautiful human being. I mean, an absolutely beautiful human being. We get in the way of our own success, people. I said that going to this center recharges my batteries. What it does more than anything, and I'm sorry if I'm bumming anybody out, but it reminds me just how much the rest of the world cries a whole hell of a lot about things they shouldn't cry about. I got people that I've been working with for years, who can't get off of go. What's the difference between the guys at this rehabilitation center and the people that I've been working with for 5 years? He is Ecuadorian, Ashley. David is Ecuadorian, and he has been incarcerated. He has been through his road and my road are not that different. They really aren't. And in a very similar way, he found somebody that cared about him when no one should. It's amazing how that thing just seems to perpetuate and keep going and going and going and going. What stops people from being successful? If I can figure this out, maybe I am a guru. But I'm being serious. What stops success? Because every self-help book out there is designed to get you past the hump of failure. Does it make sense? We're trying to figure out how to succeed at whatever the hell we want to do. We want to lose weight. We want to stop drinking. We want to stop doing dope. We want to become in better shape. We want to be a nicer person. We want to fix our marriage. We want to have a better relationship with our kids. Insert your goal here. What's stopping you from achieving the goal? This isn't going to take a long time. If you're journaling, you're only going to have to write one friggin' sentence. Are you ready? What stops you? Anybody want to take a shot at this? I'm open to hear suggestions. You know what? Ashley says, just do it, Nike. Not a bad ad campaign, and you're really darn close. In fact, it's probably good enough of an answer. However, simplicity, fear is another great answer, because I want to tell you something. If you're procrastinating, you're doing it out of fear. Fear of the unknown. Kristen Melinda agrees with fear. The difference between people, men or women, I say guys all the time, but that's because I'm from the Northeast. I have to quit smoking pot needs to be my first sentence today. ISIS aflame. I love that. I love that. I really do. Write that down. What are you willing to do to get it? The difference between those men and women on this planet who are massively successful, and by massively successful, I don't mean they drive a Ferrari. I mean they write down a goal and then they accomplish the goal. That's massively successful. That's why making your bed is a big damn deal. You get up in the morning, you make your bed. Why? Because it was the first goal. It's a question. It's the very first goal of the day that you can do. If you don't set a goal and do it, there are people who at 6 o'clock at night haven't set a goal yet that day. Was yet. There are people that go through their entire lives without setting a goal. Fear of failure is absolutely a real thing. And a lot of people seem to see that one as an answer. And it is a good one. Make no mistake. The difference between the people who are massively successful and the people who are not is one group of people writes down their goals. The other group of people, let's say that they journal even, they write down their goals. The one group writes down what they're willing to do to get it. The other group writes down what they're willing to do to get it. The difference is one group takes action. That's it. There you go. Close up shop. The difference between those on planet Earth who are successful and those who are not is that those who are successful take action. The more successful they are, the more action they took. Massive action. And you know what? A little luck along the way, God intervening, whatever you want to call it, me saying in the car for no reason whatsoever, hey, I'm a recovering heroin addict. That was a good door opener. But since then, we've taken action every single time we've had a chance to do so. Not because we're good people, but because this goal makes us feel different. Being a part of this center makes us feel different. Whether you realize it or not, everything we do is designed to make us feel better. It's to make us feel happy in our own skin. We do dope because we're unhappy when we're not doing dope. This makes sense, right? We did heroin because it took away pain. Physical pain, spiritual pain, emotional pain, right? Took away all of them. We snorted cocaine because it made us feel like we're a little bit better than we really were. Like we're a little bit more in control. Like everybody else is on slow speed, but we're not, right? We're cooking. People do meth and they have the cleanest house on the street. Remember that? I don't eat, I don't sleep, but I got the cleanest house on the street. Crystal meth. That was actually a commercial on television. I'm not playing. Roberta, that's okay. I'm glad that you're here. Take massive action. You're unhappy with your body type? Start walking today. Don't say, I've got this whole plan. We're going to count calories next Wednesday. Miss me with all that crap. You want to get in better shape? Today, walk for 20 minutes. Tommy, you have no idea the size of me. I can't walk for 20 minutes. Can you walk for 10? Huh? My friend Austin from prison was over 3 bills. This dude was absolutely massive. I would say, you've seen the picture of me when I'm a great big fat guy. See that photo right there? I'm closing in on 300 pounds in that picture. The guy in the gray shirt was about 40 pounds heavier than I was. He's a really big dude. And I would walk by his cell and he'd be doing this one with his arms. And guys would go, check it out. He's doing Jane Fonda. He got down to 195 pounds before he left prison. Why? Because every day he took massive action. When we were locked down and he couldn't get out on the unit, because he would walk for 3 hours in circles. The outside was exactly a football field. It was 100 yards. And he would do it for the entire time we were let out of our cell. He would just walk in circles, right? Walk in circles, had his tunes on. When we went to lockdown, it would be super easy to sit down on your rack and go, hey, I can't walk today. He would walk from the door to the wall, turn around, walk back, turn around, walk back, drive his cellmate completely insane. He took massive action. If he didn't do it that day, as far as he was concerned, he wasn't getting He was not only not getting closer to his goal, he was moving in the opposite direction. If you have a goal in your life and you take a day off, you didn't stop moving forward. You started going backwards. And the crazy thing about us is fear almost defines everybody. So the first day that you blow off a little of your goal, there's a little voice in your head. Whether you hear it, whether you recognize it, there's a voice in your head that says, it's all right. It's all right. It's one day. What's one day? It's a week. You're going to pick this back up. You'll pick it back up. You needed a week off. You had to recharge your batteries. Anybody that's ever worked out in a gym can tell you this one. The first day that you blow something off and you don't go to work, you go, you know what? Man, I needed to let my muscles heal. I needed that day of letting my muscles heal. The odds you get up and do it the next day, they're not in your favor. They're not in your favor. We fight the structure that makes us successful. We fight the attitude that makes us successful. Everything, it's a roadmap that's so easy to follow. And guess what? Insert whatever the deuce you want in this sentence, right? It doesn't matter what you're talking about. I'm really trying to fix this. No, you're not. I'm sorry. No, you're not. See this? The magic red cap? Try to pick it up. Try to pick it up. Drop a pen, drop anything you have in the room right now, drop it in front of you and try to pick it up. You go, Tommy, that's ridiculous. You don't have to try to pick something up. You just pick it up. I got news for you. It's like that with everything else. Everything. Losing 100 pounds isn't easy. No, it's not. No, it's not. But you know how you do it? You try. Right? I'm going to try to do this. No, you pick it up. You say, I'm doing this, this, and this. It leads to my demise. It leads to my failure. If the problem is weight loss, right? You will sit down and you will journal and you will say, I tell people to do this all the time if you're trying to lose weight. For the first week, don't trip. Eat exactly how you eat. But every time you eat, write down what you ate, what time you ate it, and what was going on in your dome. What was happening in your environment right before you decided to sit down and crush a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos, right? Or a pint of Haagen-Dazs. Because what you're going to find out is that there's a direct correlation between your dome piece, right? What's going on inside and how you act accordingly. Jayon Smut says, there is no try. There is only do or do not. I love that, by the way. I had a therapist and it was group therapy and everybody in that room was out of prison, but they were all federal inmates. I shouldn't say that. There was about a half a dozen of them that were state inmates, but then we had all just gotten out of prison. Most of us feds. And he would say, so did everybody do 30 meetings in the last 30 days? I had a pass. I didn't have to do that. I was doing other things. But people in the room would go, no, I haven't yet. Why not? Why haven't you done it? Well, I'm trying. And as soon as they said it, he would take a pen out of his pocket and he would throw it in the middle of the room and you'd hear it hit the floor. And he'd go, try to pick up that pen. Go ahead, try. You choose or you don't choose. It's honestly that simple. And I know people go, it's easier said than done. And I always go, you're right. It really is. It's not. I'm sorry, it's not. And by the way, I was this close to 300 pounds. I did the weight loss thing. You know what I did? I wrote down when I ate and why I ate. And I found out some really fascinating things. I didn't eat because I was hungry, ever. It's not why I ate. I ate because I couldn't do heroin. So somebody would really piss me off. Something would really grind my gears. And instead of sticking a needle in my arm, which admittedly, this was a good trade, but I would make a tortilla bowl. That's what we used to call them in prison. And you start with a tortilla and you put refried beans, you put cheese, you put fake soy meat, right? Because you can't get real meat. And then you crush up some chips and you put another tortilla on top of it. It's about 5 layers. It's like a layer cake of Mexican goodies.
It's a Spanish lasagna.
Like a Spanish lasagna, says
Mexican.
Mexican lasagna, says my brother. Yeah, probably not such a bad description. But one day I figured it out. And it was about 1,400 calories for one of these bowls. 1,400 calories. Do you know when I ate them most often? No lie. Right after dinner. I would go down to the chow hall and eat whatever they had made us, and which would usually be, 750 calories, something like that. That's the menu basically worked on about 750 calories per meal as an average. So I'd go down and eat 750 calories. And then I would look at Austin, the guy in that picture, and go, man, that sucked. And we'd start complaining about how bad the food was. Then we would go back and make this massive, huge bowl, eat it, and go directly to sleep. When I met this cat, I'll just keep it real. He sold a lot of drugs inside. He had a lot of things going on, and he had a very deep pockets. And he was big into making spreads. So when I started hanging out with him on the regular, I put on 60 or 70 pounds in about a half a year. Just crushing food. And you know what? It worked. As an organism, it worked. At the end of the day, all of the pissed off, all of the things that had been grinding my gears all day long, boom, that huge bowl delivered enough of a dopamine hit, delivered enough of a brain chemical cocktail that I could lay down and go to sleep. By the way, this is all pre-Q, you understand? This was before I was really getting into journaling and doing all that. One of the first things that I did with Q was to get my weight down. I was my top was about 289. So I was about 11 pounds under 300 pounds. And I'm not short. I'm 6'2". Even in this photo, I carry the weight pretty well. That's about as big as I got. But that shirt's a 4X. If I had been wearing the shirt that I have on now, I would have looked like I was wearing a sausage skin. But I took massive action. And I researched the diet thing, figured out what seemed to be the best according to Men's Journal, because I subscribed at the time. And I started doing mini fasting. And at first, my goal was to make sure that I went 12 hours between my last meal and my breaking of the fast. But it got to a point where it was about 23 hours. I ate one meal a day. I didn't cheat. And weight fell off of me until it didn't. Hello, Linda. And when it stopped falling off of me, the first thing I wanted to do was eat my ass off. I thought I did everything right and it's still not working, right? Because we're good at that. We're good at bailing at the very first chance. Are you the best? I don't know that that's what you ought to be telling yourself when you get up in the morning. Go watch any motivational guy, they'll tell you that. But nobody can be you. Put a 2 in the chat. If you ever thought to yourself, man, I was meant for more than this. Have you ever thought to yourself, I know there's something bigger that I'm supposed to be doing. I wasn't meant to just do this. You would think that that might be one of the greatest motivators on planet Earth. It's the exact opposite. Do you know this? What people do is they say, I know I was built for more than this. And then you kind of build in your head what that might be because we don't know what the more than this is, right? So maybe I was supposed to be famous. Maybe I was supposed to be an actor or something. Maybe I was supposed to be in politics. I know that there was something. So what we've already done is we're a failure. Before we even get started, right? We're not saying I could do so much more. We're saying I did so much less. There's a huge difference in that. You understand, right? No matter where you are today, you are absolutely born for something more than this. I don't know what that something is for you. Hell, I didn't know what that something was for me until recently. And I don't mean the rehab center. I knew 4 years ago, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to talk to people who are struggling in life, particularly with chemicals, but addiction in general. And at the time, I thought I was wanting to talk to heroin addicts. But I found out that the cats that are addicted to this puppy are absolutely no different than the people that are addicted to smack or methamphetamine or anything else. That's just how it works. And if you don't see that, I get it. But I promise you it's the truth. And I found myself in the right place at the right time. I knew I was doing the right thing. I really did. However, as happens very often, as I started to get more successful in it, I started to give up exactly what it is I was trying to do. You know, I think the 8,900 people, folks, that was the record for the number of people I had in a live chat once on the boat. 8,900 people. And the saddest thing is, I went successful. I had 8,900 people in a chat of a channel designed to help people live their best life, get off chemicals, or beat any habit that they might have. That's the design of the channel. Do you know how much I talked about that with 8,900 people in my chat? It didn't come up. It didn't come up because I was no longer trying to help anybody. See, I was made for more than that. I was made for a bigger channel. I was made for a silver play button. I was made for a $15,000 a month paycheck off of YouTube. That's what I was made for. It wasn't the goal of this channel. But it's very easy to swap out goals for instant satisfaction. And I'll tell you something, seeing 8,900 people in a chat makes you feel a little bit cooler than you should. I'm happier today with 44 people in this chat. But, and that's a big but I got some good news. But I actually have to get to the point where I say things like, guess what? Do the heavy lifting. I love coming here and I love getting everybody fired up to go out and have a great day. Cindy G, good to see you. I really want that to happen. I want everyone to try and live their best life, right? I really do. But you can read every single book on being the best version of you that you have ever been. You still got to take that right foot and put it in front of the left foot. World's greatest cliche in 3, 2, 1. The journey of 1,000 miles or half a mile or your success starts. You don't have to finish the sentence. Yeah, I mean, it starts with a single step, but it has to start. And if all you're doing is amassing all of the knowledge on earth of how to be a better version of you and do nothing, it's very easy to swap out our goals for instant satisfaction. I need to carve that into my brain. Whenever I can't carve something into my brain, I take about a week of writing it at the very top of my journaling page. So that each time I go in there to write anything, that mantra of whatever it is I'm trying to make a part of me is written across the top of the page. I have gotten good. I have really gotten good at rationalizing crap for myself. I have gotten good at taking the easy payout, right? Instant satisfaction. The pat on the back, the cool comment, somebody that tells you that you helped save them or whatever the case may be. The question then becomes, what am I doing? Am I taking massive action to move forward with my life and my goals? I'll tell you one of the biggest, something that people who try to do what I'm doing, you know what? That just sucks. And I love you, but that just sucks. I'm not trying to be a bummer. Words will dictate who and how you are. I said F my life 30 times a day for 3 decades. And do you know what I did? I F'd my life at every single turn. With all due respect, you're a failure according to who? There's an audience of people here. There's a group of people here right now that are saying, I don't believe that. Lisa, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. People other than you do not see you that way at all. At all. So these are people that believe you're wonderful. You are not, says Ashley G. Be good to yourself. But I'll tell you something. If you say every morning, Lisa Trimble, God bless you. Please come back and watch this on replay. But if you tell yourself every single morning, I'm a failure, I guarantee you will be. I guarantee it. If you get up every single morning and tell yourself that you're a winner, I stood in front of a mirror feeling like a jackass saying, I'm not a scumbag, right? I'm not a junkie. I'm not a piece of shit. These were my morning mantras. Tell you what, I'm just going to insert the name. Everyone is 10 times stronger than they think they are. Johnny says sometimes she forgets she's human. So you're a failure. According to who? It's not the people in your tribe. Nobody in your tribe seems to think that. So you're a failure according to who? Yourself. And I promise you, if you say that you're a failure, you sure as hell are. You'll make that happen. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a self-fulfilling destiny. It's whatever you want to call it. But it is, without a shadow of a doubt, a fact. I said I'm a junky piece of crap every day of my life for 30 years. Guess what I was every day of my life for 30 years? A junkie and a piece of crap. The mornings I started getting up and looking in the mirror and saying to myself, you think this was comfortable? Give it a try. Try doing any mantra. and repeating it while staring at yourself in the mirror, and you will feel like the world's biggest jackwagon. For real. But I stood in front of a mirror and said, you're not a loser. You're not a loser. Not to hop into the pulpit again, but you are the greatest creation of somebody that spoke the universe into existence, but says man is the greatest creation. I don't know, man. I get a look at the cosmos and I think, I don't even know if man's in the top 10, but not my choice, right? I didn't create us. But to get up every morning and start the day with, I'm a failure. Good luck not being one. I'm not a guy that buys into the you can speak things into existence. I think there was only one person or entity that could do that. However, I think you absolutely can limit the dog hell out of yourself if you use limiting speech to do so. Words like, I try. I try. What did you do to try? Help yourself out. Don't answer me. But whatever your goal is, well, I've been trying to lose weight. Good. Write down what you have been trying to do to lose weight. You'll find it doesn't take a long time. The people that are being successful in the things that they do, if they start writing down what they did to be successful, it'll just fire them up. It'll just prove that they have taken massive action to get what they wanted in life, right? I want to lose 100 pounds. I'm 60 down. What have I been doing? I'm working out every day. I'm limiting what I eat for food. I took white stuff off of the menu. I don't eat rice. I don't eat bread. I don't eat. You'll be able to ask somebody, hey, how did you do this? No one ever goes, I mean, unless you're the hot to a girl. If you're somebody that showed up and said something silly and were a millionaire 2 days later. But for somebody that built something, somebody that took the time to actually blood, sweat, and tears something into existence, when you say, how did you become a success? They'll give you a roadmap. I read biographies of everybody famous that I could get my hands on while I was incarcerated. I read autobiographies. I read historical stuff on people. I wanted the stories because my dad had said to me, don't read fiction, right? Read some nonfiction because it'll make you smarter. You know, fiction will make you smarter too. It helps with your vocabulary. It's a hell of a lot better than watching television. But nonfiction will actually give you stuff that when people start talking about, you can go, oh, I know what you're talking about, right? You don't run into people from history who got successful because, well, he's luckier than hell. I mean, they exist. But the vast majority of people who are lucky took massive action. You ever heard people say, you got to be at the right place at the right time? No. You think that's what creates success? I sat in a room with a guy that said, this is called, right, apps. And then he showed me Angry Birds, which was not yet called Angry Birds. I could have owned that bad boy. Do you know what we'd be doing right now? For real. The money that those guys made, I mean, that's $1 billion app by the time it's all said and done. I was in the right place at the right time. You know the chip on your credit card? That little metal chip? Before that little metal chip, on the back of the card was a little magnetic strip. And that's how everything was done. But a guy that's worth anything on a computer can take one of those cards from a hotel, wash it clean, put it into a machine, and then imprint it with stuff. It was not safe. So they came up with this new method, which had a little digital chip on the card. We also got pitched on that. My boss at the time actually took a huge position in that company and made a fortune. I was in the right place at the right time. I didn't get rich from it. You got to be in the right place at the right time and what? Yeah, you have to act. You got to pull the trigger. You got to be in the right place at the right time and take massive action. We grew up, I've told the story many times, but we grew up in a place where they had an Apple computer when I was in second grade. That would have been 1977. And there was an Apple computer in the school that I went to school in. These guys were the gentleman that had put up all of the money for the venture capital, not his money. He found all the people, but he put all of it together for Apple. Do you know what he did with the money that he made, the commissions that he made for all that? And it was massive. You realize working that job, you bring in $100 million in investment capital. You might be taking somewhere between 5 and 15, depending on the deal, as your commission off the top. He could have walked away rich as hell. But he didn't, because he was in the right place at the right time. So he took massive action. All of the money that he made in commissions from bringing this money in, he bought Apple stock. Didn't need to. Could have just sat back. 15 million will hold you. Unless you're an absolute jackwagon, 15 million ought to hold you for a year. Don't you believe? I do. He invested it in Apple. His son now owns the minor league team for the Yankees, the New York Yankees. Why? Because the old man liked baseball. Good Lord, that's a big crustacean. The boat and bus gave me a belief in people again, because I have seen too much ugly. But instead of staying in bed today, I was late, but I came because I am not only one struggling, and we can do it. We are better as a tribe. And I'll tell you something. I have never felt that Cindy G was anything but positive. Ever. I feel like she got to this chat and from day one was one of the most positive people I ever met. Nevertheless, I've had 3 emails, right, from people who just said, boy, Cindy G's just become the nicest person alive. Maybe it's because I'm at this end of the thing. By the way, Cindy, you're not alone. If you knew how many times someone will send me an email and say, so-and-so seems to be really growing or really moving or just becoming kinder or whatever the case may be. Boy, that's a payday. Boy, that's just a cool thing to read. The bottom line is I got a way louder voice than the rest of you, but everybody here plays that part. Everybody here says things when someone needs to hear it. And I'm not trying to be a jerk. I really hope Elisa comes back and watches this whole show. But did you see the reaction of all of the people that interact with her? No, you're not. What do you mean you're a failure? How the hell are you a failure? The only person that sees that is the person that isn't the failure. And if that's the lens you're looking through, then you're trying. You're not doing. Fear of breaking through. Fear of saying, you know what? I'm going to make me the most important thing in my life for the next 6 months. Here's the crazy thing. A big secret for you. You've been the most important thing in your life your entire life. It's how you became less than you wish you were. But if you say, I'm going to make myself the most important thing for the next 6 months, and then you choose things like, I am not a failure. I am going to get down to the weight that I want to get at. I am going to stop using this in an evil way. We have a system now with cursing that costs us 10 push-ups every time one of us drops them. And they're on calls. I don't know if you know what that means, but what it means is I can be in the checkout line at the Maxi Mart and Johnny can go, why don't you give me 20 of them now? Make it 30. And in front of an entire group of people, I got to drop down and start doing push-ups in public. It's a prison thing. It's what you bet when you got nothing to bet with. I can't control my tongue. I talk for a living. I can't control my tongue. I'm sure that I cursed in this video. I don't want to curse anymore. I'm working at it. I really am. I'm working at it. But I don't mean I'm not working at it. I don't mean I'm saying I'm going to try. I'm working at it. Every day when I get up in the morning, I write, today is a day I'm not going to do this. Today is a day I am not going to curse. I make some mistakes. I keep very short accounts. When this is over, I'll watch this puppy at double speed, and I'll write down how many times I said S-H-I-T. It's the one that gets me. I'm not dropping F-bombs. But shit is just such a, it's one of those words that is just, it's so usable, right? And you talk yourself into stuff. You go, well, that makes you more relatable. Right? It doesn't run people off. They go, he's human. I don't need to prove to anyone I'm human. It's pretty obvious. Just my failures alone ought to hammer that home. This chat and channel have shown me I can trust people again. Well, how good is that? How good is that? Make a video of that, please. Ashley G, would you tell me a little bit more of exactly what I said that you want me to expand on? I'll be honest, I get in the groove. When these shows are over, I usually can't tell you anything I said on them. You go through that, don't you, Johnny Scoville? If you're cooking and you do a 1 hour show and everything just seems to be doing this, you'll forget what the hell you said. I promise. I absolutely promise you'll forget what you said. In fact, right before I went live, thank you, William. I appreciate that, man. You need to see more speakers. You know what? I'm terrible at taking compliments. I should just say thank you. I really do appreciate that. And you know what? I'm proud of my ability to speak. I'm not a guy that goes, no, I'm no good at that. You ever meet those people like they play the piano or whatever, and people go, play something for us. And they go, nah, man, I'm really not that good. You know what I say every time? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were. If you're not good, don't. I don't want to hear if you're not good. It's great. Do it to somebody next time. It's fantastic to watch them go, what? You know, we do things self-deprecating because it's just what we do. I should get better at just saying thank you. I really should. Potty mouth, I have found, can be helpful. I've been using them lately. You know something? Here's the deal. Push-ups at the grocery store. I should do a show on that. You're right, actually, G. They'll be, we'll do at least shorts of one of us calling the other because it happens a lot. You know, you can do it right as the taxi cab's pulling up to pick you up. That's always a good one too. Taxi cabs in this country are phenomenal. About 9 miles away, if you give them the wave, they flash you the high beams real quick to lock it in that they're your cab, because there's usually 5 or 6 of them coming at you anyway. But it gives you enough time to make Johnny get down and do 10 or 20. Too much cat hair happens to the best of us. Too much cat hair. You know, that reference is getting some legs. When I'm mad, I sound like a drunken sailor who got robbed and then stubbed his toe. Yeah. Here's the thing. Programming, right? Programming. If you come every day and you listen to nothing but positive things on YouTube, you will begin to talk to people very differently. You will begin to talk to people very differently. You'll begin to say things that are uplifting. You watch channels where every single word is an F that F and C word, blah, blah, blah. You will absolutely begin to talk like that. I did time in prison. Most of you know this. In prison, you hear the word F-U-C-K on average, I'll bet you 1,000 times a day. I'm not being funny. Everybody uses it, usually 3 or 4 times in every sentence. And when they can't think, they use it as a comma. I was hanging out with Kevin and freaking, like, while they're processing, they just throw a couple of F-bombs out, right? So that you don't have any dead air. They hate dead air. So they'll just curse during it. And I'm not giving this as an excuse, but you start to speak like the people around you. There's a great expression that says, if you're the smartest person in the room, find a different room, right? Well, if people are cursing constantly in front of you, you're going to find yourself starting to pick that up. I promise. It's like one of the other things that I say a lot on here, but I have people that I've worked with who will say, people from other countries in particular, who will say, I still go and play darts at the pub, right? I'm not drinking, but I tell the guys every time I go there that I'm not. I even talk to them about their drinking. I got news for you. One junkie sober is never going to talk 3 junkies into getting sober. The 3 junkies are going to talk the guy trying to get clean into using. Simple math. Now, you got 20 years of sobriety under your belt, and you want to go into that kind of a situation and sit down and talk to people who are in the throes of addiction, you can do that. Can't move in with them. Can't watch them go out, cop dope, bring it back, put it in a spoon, cook it up. You're going to relapse. I would. There's no way in hell I could put myself into that situation. Doesn't mean I can't work with addicts, right? In fact, I can't do anything but work with addicts. It's what I'm supposed to do. I love Lisa, by the way. I'm not ever trying to bum the woman out at all. But to say too late, I'm already a failure, then yeah, you're right. You guys don't see it that way. But the fact that she does isn't going to let her get off a go. Not going to collect $200, not going to do any of that. The self-limiting beliefs kill us in terms of what we can do successfully. You set the bar. You know how I said no one is ever going to love you more than you love yourself? You're never going to be more successful than you allow yourself to be. And if the first words out of your mouth in the morning are, I'm never going to lose weight, trust and believe you're not. If the first words out of your mouth in the morning is, there's no way I can get through today without heroin, you won't. Those words, while I don't believe necessarily in all of the laws of attraction kind of stuff or whatever, but limiting self-talk, right? We talk about ants. Holy hell, you're saying it out loud. If you think ants suck, give them power, give them a voice, and watch what happens. When automatic negative thoughts, those are in your dome piece. You start letting them out and saying them out loud. It's just like the pipe dream in your head that becomes a goal. Sure, to this day, right? Even on my best days, my aunts still want to tell me I'm a scumbag. My aunts still want to tell me I'm nothing but a convict. It's always going to be that way. The difference is, number one, I would never give them power by voicing them. And number two, if that is what's going on in my head, that's my automatic negative thought, I have to add a manual thought, one that is not automatic, one that is very deliberate. And it needs to be a positive thought. And I'm going to give that one power. I'm going to say it out loud. I'm going to take it from the land of the pipe dream and I'm going to bring it into the land of the real. And I'm going to look in the mirror and say, you're not a scumbag. My new one, you're making a difference. That's my new mantra. When I look in the mirror, when I'm feeling bad about myself, I look in the mirror, I say, you're making a difference. I used to get indicators of what making a difference looked like. And this isn't good, but I could usually attach a paycheck to it, right? I'm making this much money talking to people about them trying to get sober. These days, I have to find success in different places. I have to look and seek things out that make me feel as if what I'm doing well enough to be successful at it. Automatic negative thoughts will tear you down. And when you take a stand and you draw a line in the sand and you say, guess what? I think Jesus got nailed to a cross and got up 3 days later for the resurrection of sin so that all of us can end up in heaven. That one's going to hurt your channel. And when you see people dropping like flies, by the way, for those that go, oh, you've been dropping since the long con video. No, I actually started to grow. We actually got to a point where all of that stopped. And then we started putting up positive content. I don't mean Christian content. I mean positive content. I talk about things on this channel and God comes up because of my faith, but I am not a Christian channel. I don't talk about that. But I did a video that was called Hope in South America or Hope in Ecuador, where I showed all the fellas and I talked about just how fantastic that center is and just the good that is happening there. Would you be surprised if I told you that the upvotes on that video were 65%? That means out of every 100 people that watched that, 35 of them were offended by it. That's hard for me to wrap my brain around, other than to say we're in the end times. The other one that I did, which showed the facility, I did 2 of those videos. The other one, I did considerably better. That one had 71% upvotes. Only 29 out of 100 people said, this sucks. I don't like this. Here are people getting sober. Here are people taking care of one another, trying to make life better for each other. Guys who give up their beds for someone who's dope sick so that they can take care of them, gladly giving up their beds. These guys have no family, so they became family. 35 out of 100? You think it's easy?
More of them than you.
Of course it does. Johnny Scoville says it speaks more of them than it does me. But what do you think it does to the old automatic negative thoughts? Oh, yeah. It gives the ants a bulletproof vest and a 50 cal with 27 feet of bullets ready to go, the whole 9 yards. So I need to look in the mirror and say, I'm making a difference. I'm not a failure. I'm making a difference. I'm pruning this tree. And I'll tell you something, the Lord works in mysterious ways. I had somebody reach out and send a PayPal, unsolicited, didn't even say anything other than good work. But I had somebody send me a PayPal donation that offset quite a bit of the, it was just a lovely thing. And every once in a while, those lovely things will put a little wind in your sail. But make no mistake, if your boat's going to move, you're going to be the wind that moves it. A belief in what you're doing, regardless of who throws what at you. You follow me? This isn't easy. It's just worth it. Becoming the best version of you, will it be easy? No, it won't be. It will absolutely be difficult. It will suck all along the way. It will. But a time is coming when the malfunctioning reward center of your brain will begin to function. And then doesn't matter how much feces people decide to throw at you, because the reward center is going to get you high for doing the right thing. If that doesn't make sense to you, then you don't understand brain chemistry and how, we talk about heroin a lot because it's my drug of choice, but the mu receptor, the mu receptor, the morphine molecule comes in, attaches itself to the mu receptor, allowing the mu receptor to turn on your own brain chemicals and get you high. You know what that means, don't you? It means that you have the ability to make yourself feel like any drug you've ever done. Think about that. You have the ability to get that kind of fake peace that you got from buying a gram of this or a gram of that. You can make that happen on the real. You can make that happen without faking anything. You can make that happen by making the world a better place than you found it. Even if it's just within your family, even if it's how you treat your fur baby, whatever it is, you set a goal, you achieve the goal, the reward center of your brain will start getting you high again. Well, that doesn't suck, does it? How about getting high with no guilt? How about getting high with no negative side effects? I hope that happens to you. And not for nothing, I hope you get addicted to it. I want to see everybody on planet Earth get addicted to a functioning reward center. Boy, I don't say functioning a lot, do I? It sounded weird coming out of my mouth. A properly functioning reward center in your brain, rewarding you for trying to leave the earth a better place than you found it. You know what, folks? I used to be better at this whole public speaking thing. I've gone over my 1 hour time allotted slot, and I am trying to keep this to 1 hour on account of the fact that I need to go and get kitty supplies. I made an error, and now the kitty litter supply is low. I don't let the cats ever, neither does Johnny. We don't let them, they're ladies. They shouldn't have to use a dirty toilet. But it's getting to where it's a little thin in there. So I need to jump in a cab, go to the Maxi Mart, and get new kitty supplies, including TREATSs. Got to be very careful because they know when we're spelling stuff, it's usually so that they can't figure it out. Now, if they hear us spelling anything, they just go completely, I was going to say ape, but they go cat crap is what they go. I am going to enjoy my day, I promise. Isis says, excellent shows, Tommy. Thank you, chat people. See that? Thank you, tribe, for doing what you do. Love this. Being a good person, bringing that back into fashion, the goal. Giggity. You know what? There was a time where that kind of attitude was actually prevalent. And you know what? I'm with you. I want to see us bring it back. I really do. Tara Jackson, I love that. Man, I absolutely love that. People, I will see you this evening. I'm feeling pretty good. I got no reason to not do 2 shows. I feel fantastic. Everyone is sort of back in the groove. I mean it. And I think that we're going to see the effects of that. Speaking of back in the groove, you know who else is back in the groove there, Johnny Scoville? Squirrel Nut Zipper. SNZ is practically back on board. So this is the time of the show where I say, I will be seeing you this evening. And between now and then, you know what I want you to do, right? I want you to put a little love in your heart. I am Tommy Scoville, occasionally referred to as the Admiral or the Captain. And this is about to be, well, you know. This, folks, is a cat in a basket. Giggity, look at her. Who's a good kitty? Squirrel Nut Zipper. She's back in the saddle again. And I'll have you know that this morning, right before I went live, this is a true story. Johnny can back me up. Right before I went live, I said, Squirrel, what the heck are you doing? Get in the basket. You know the drill. And she jumped up and got into the basket. It was like the old days. So it took her a little while to get into the whole spirit of the thing since moving to Ecuador. She's a little salty about being an Ecuadorian pussycat. She prefers the weather here. She really does. But she is also the queen of everything and thinks that she probably should have had a decision in where we moved. Not that she doesn't like Ecuador. She just wanted me to spin a globe and she would use her paw to pick where we're going. Squirrel doesn't like thinking that there is somebody that has more authority than she does. And technically no one does. But we did kind of pick this place without asking her and she's salty about it. The other cat, let me see if that picks up. You see her? No. The other cat is just lying on a, she's just a very lazy animal. And big, forget about it. All right, people, put a little love in your heart. I will see you on the next one. God bless all of you. And you know what? Thanks for sticking around for an hour and 5 minutes of me yapping. Now, don't limit yourself. Don't say things like I'm a failure. Don't say things like I suck or I'm a loser or any of those things. Because the one person that you are going to believe more than any other is yourself. Believe that. It's a fact. I'm Tommy. I'll see you on the next one. I love you. God bless. Bye-bye.